and welcome to the Normal to Formal Podcast, episode number 8. I'm your host, Tia Young. I'm the founder of Tia Young Image and Etiquette. I help my clients learn the soft skills for success through professional development and etiquette training. This podcast is for people that want to increase their social skills and earning potential and grow from normal to formal. These skills will help you get ahead of the competition. The topic for today's podcast is social faux pas. A faux pas is an embarrassing or tactical act or remark in a social situation. And I want to share a few excerpts or faux pas from my book called How to Navigate Premium Experiences with Confidence, Your Guide to Social Success. These faux pas can be found in Chapter 1, and the book can be purchased on Amazon for only $15.99. Now, growing up, my mom taught us how to act in public. Back then, it was called home training. All she had to do was give us a look, and that means if you keep acting up, you're going to get it when you get home. That could be a spanking, that could be a punishment, or whatever she decided on that day. Nowadays, you hear the terms good manners, proper protocol, etiquette training, civility, and even decorum. But they all mean the same thing, home training, because manners really should be taught in the home. So when we go in public, we won't embarrass the family. I found a cute article by Ashley Moore, and it talked about the old-fashioned manners that kids are no longer taught. Because I know I was taught all these things growing up, and you really don't see it in today's society. So I want to share a few of those tips with you, and then go on to share some faux pas in social gatherings. One of the first tips that was shared was writing thank you notes. I love to receive handwritten thank you notes. I actually did a podcast a few weeks ago about thanking those essential workers, and I did some handwritten notes and mailed it to their hospital or dental office or their personal home, and they really, really appreciated it. So writing a thank you note. Also, sending a quick video as a thank you is a very, very nice touch. Another great tip that we used to do back in the day that I don't see quite anymore is addressing adults by Mr. and Mrs. and also saying, no ma'am, yes ma'am, no sir, yes sir. When I do hear that, because I am a little older, I'm over 50, so when I do hear a younger teen or young adult say that to me, it doesn't make me feel old. It makes me feel respected because I know they were trained. They had that home training I'm talking about. And it was just part of their culture. Also, I loved back in the day how people would stand to greet you. And that's the proper way to do it, actually. If you're sitting and someone walks up and you're introduced to them, you want to stand to their level and not stay seated. It just shows respect. But nowadays, too many youngsters standing up to greet someone would seem extremely old-fashioned. But it's a small gesture that every little one should know. When you're meeting someone or being introduced, it used to be customary to stand up to show respect. Also on this list that I really like, saying hi to neighbors. Well, we don't walk as much as we did back then. Growing up, we would walk to the corner store, and on the way, if people were sitting on their porch, on the rocking chair, and you say, good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, whatever time of day it may be. You know I like my list, but the next thing on the list is shaking hands. We might not ever go back to shaking hands like we used to. So we'll have to come up with a different greeting that might be an elbow bump, it might be a bow, but we want to be careful of spreading germs. So the shaking of the hands might be something that we don't use for the foreseeable future. Another listed item is putting your phone down when interacting with others. Technology has taken over, but it should never take over from good manners and civility and respect. When cell phones became commonplace for teens in the late 90s, there were definitely rules about phone-free dinners. But today, that's not the case. And when you combine the influx of technology with the short attention span of children, you have a recipe for disaster in terms of polite interaction. You can't learn, listen, or interact with people if your eyes are glued to the screen. A great item on the list also is making eye contact. That's so important, and it shows trust. People trust you when they can see your eyes. Getting young children to focus is incredibly difficult these days, but that doesn't mean kids should be free to avoid eye contact when someone is attempting to have a conversation with them. Listening and maintaining eye contact with people is as old-fashioned as it gets. Another great one on the list, waiting to eat until everyone is served. For older generations, table manners were very important, but that isn't true today. Children are often given priority for eating a meal and are not taught to wait for everyone to be served before eating. Teach them how to hold a conversation during that time and not be anxious, because this is going to carry over to when they get older. Because once they're adults, that impatience is considered rude, so start enforcing the practice of waiting from a young age. While they're at that dinner, not reaching across the table is another guideline. Decades ago, children were taught not to reach across the table for food. But parents no longer teach their children this basic table manner. Instead of grabbing, ask someone to pass it along to you. This is not just polite, but also helps reduce unnecessary spills and accidents. One that bothers me is double dipping, so we want to teach not to double dip. In order to make their best impression at restaurants, children should be taught to avoid double dipping. I think most kids today forget that it's better to just take a bit on your own plate rather than going back into the main bowl. So if they have a chip that they're dipping into a dip, or salsa, or vegetable they're dipping into ranch dressing, we want to make sure they only have a piece in their hand that they're going to consume the entire piece without having to dip it back in. But in order to avoid that, just put a little bit of that sauce or dressing on their own individual plate. Therefore, they can double dip all they want into their very own plate. A big one is chewing with their mouth closed. Everyone should be vigilant about not chewing with their mouth open or attempting to speak with their mouth full of food. If someone does ask you a question and you're in the middle of chewing, just hold up that index finger, and that means, let me finish chewing first before I speak. One of the ones really now that bothers me the most is holding the door open for others. If they're 2 to 3 steps behind you, look back and hold the door. You have to be aware of others around you and be considerate. If it's more than a few seconds away, then you don't have to hold the door. And one of the last tips and very important tips, saying please and thank you. So those are a few home training tips that I wanted to share before I share some of the faux pas that I listed in my book in Chapter 1. The book again is called How to Navigate Premium Experiences with Confidence, Your Guide to Social Success. It's on Amazon for $15.99. In my book, in Chapter 1, I talked about attending special occasions because the book is entitled Premium Experiences. And sometimes we're uncomfortable in settings we don't normally attend. So there's certain faux pas. And remember the definition of faux pas: an embarrassing or tactical act or remark in a social situation. And I listed 5 of those. Faux pas number 1, no RSVP. When one hosts an event, waiting to see who will be there is one of the most stressful times. In the hostess's mind, the perfect guest list guarantees a surefire night of stimulating conversation and trending hashtags, which all begin with the response. Usually, when someone sends out an invitation, online or by mail, they anxiously await the response in the form of the most powerful 4 letters in event planning, RSVP, short for Respondez s'il vous plaît. RSVP is a French term meaning please respond. General RSVP rules: follow RSVP instructions. RSVP within 24 hours or as soon as you know you can attend, and thank the hostess for the invite. If you cannot attend and you have already RSVP'd, inform the hostesses as soon as possible. Faux pas number 2, follow event instructions. Today's event planners utilize both technology and snail mail to get the word out about their event. No matter what form the invitation comes in, pay close attention to the instructions provided within. Beyond the expected details like time, place, etc., the event host may also have special directions about where to park, what to wear, and other special requests. Most hostesses create an event page on social media where they keep guests informed. Check it out for changes just in case the event host does not contact you personally. Faux pas number 3, attire. Wearing all black to an all-white party is embarrassing. Make sure you know exactly what you should wear to the event. There will be some invitations that will not tell you specifically, so wear after 5 attire or business casual to assure you are dressed appropriately. An after 5 cocktail event that is a company function may call for the perfect black dress. Be mindful that your outfit is not too revealing. Keep it classy and elegant, and you will be dressed for any occasion. Additional attire mishaps can include uncomfortable shoes, unruly bling, and offensive symbols. Be the best dressed every time you walk into the room by wearing well-tailored clothes that have a complementary fit and whose color enhances your skin's beautiful undertones. Magnificent jewelry and clutch or stylish handbag will complete your look. Faux pas number 4, +1. Every party planner wants their event overflowing with guests. After all, who wants all their hard work and careful preparation not to be seen by anyone? Though huge numbers are most people's goal, the number of guests you can bring is usually explicitly noted on the invitation. When you RSVP, inform the host that you will be bringing a guest. If the invitation indicates you can do so, be sure to speak with your guests about attire and proper etiquette, as they will be a positive or negative reflection of you. Lastly, discuss all privacy matters, such as posting on social media during the event to avoid any uncomfortable situations. Faux pas number 5, bad behavior. In a new age of reality TV, acting up at events and throwing drinks have become an option for some people. However, attacking people in public is never an option. Carrying yourself with class and dignity tells others that you value and respect you. Therefore, be sure to keep drinking to a minimum and don't ever become mean and disrespectful. Moreover, if there are children at the event, staying on your best behavior is necessary. Though events are a place to have fun, food, and dance, one must be aware of the impression he or she leaves behind. One's goal should always be to make the event better by their presence.